Hi everyone, my name is Bronwen, and today you are getting a little tour of my studio and a little bit of the backstory on Bronwen Wetter clay. My studio is located in my house at 6 Mile, about 10 minutes north of Nelson, British Columbia, and it is a functional pottery studio. I have a wheel, I have 2 big tables for hand building, I've got a kiln in my studio, so I've got everything I need to be totally functional in my space. I'll give you a little bit of a tour later, but first I'll tell you a bit about myself. So a few years ago, I decided that after taking a few community clay courses that I was really interested in clay and decided to take the 2-year diploma clay program at Kootenai School of the Arts part-time and stretch it out over 3 years. I continued to work my day job full-time and take the studio classes on my days off, and every night when my day job finished, I headed to the studio where I worked and did all of my homework until Carter kicked me out at 10 or 11 each night. And so about 6 years ago, I guess now, I graduated from the 2-year diploma program at KSA. And I started building my studio space. I make functional pottery, so I make lots of mugs, lots of little dishes, and I've gotten really interested in making planters during this pandemic as my love of plants has grown immensely over the last year, to the point where I'm growing my own plants in my basement, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But I'm really excited to give you a little tour of my studio today. You saw my work at Touchstones Gallery in Nelson, and I also teach classes in my studio, which I really enjoy doing and hope to get back to really soon. I am just in the process right now of putting together some little kits to do make a mug at home, so that people can have something to do during this time when we're all stuck in our homes until we're able to get back to regular classes. Today I am working on some little dishes for Touchstones. I start with my recycled clay that I've recycled from all of my scraps in my studio, and then I roll it out on these nice bats, and then I use my stamps that I've made. So these are stamps that I've carved out of clay and then fired in my kiln so that they're hard, and then I use these and stamp them into the clay, and then I'm going to cut these out after and use these molds here to make some dishes to take into Touchstones. So those should be in there within a week or two. I'm also working on putting some decals on some mugs today for Touchstones as well. So these are the big tables that I work on in my studio when I teach classes. And I've got 2 of these. You can see all of my dry ingredients for all of my glaze, that I make my own glaze. So there's all the dry ingredients that I use to mix together to make my glazes. This is the corner that I have my wheel in. Yes, it's messy. It gets cleaned often, but it doesn't take much to mess it up either. These are some mugs that I'm getting ready to pack up for Touchstones, some student work, and a commission of mugs that I was working on for a wedding this summer. This is I'm recycling some clay here. So what I do is I take all of the scraps that I have left over from throwing, and I can put them back in the water once they've completely dried out. I mix it up into a slurry, and then I pour it into these big plaster bats so that it can dry out enough again to be workable, and then I use it in making my work. This is the plant section that I was talking about earlier. Because I do make lots of planters, there's a couple of the pocket planters in the background there. I have started propagating all of my own plants. And so there's just a little view of all of my plants that I've started out. And in this corner of my studio over here is where I have my kiln. So it's a good sized kiln. I'm able to fire lots of students' work. Can probably get about 70 mugs or so in there. And here is just a view of the whole space. I do share it with my husband's drum set since COVID happened, and a dog that likes to sleep underneath the table, who's not there right now. There you go.